Hi, my name is Maureen, and I'm going to show you how to make a bracelet like this, weave it on rubber bands. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to need are some rubber bands. It's good to sort of try the rubber band on your wrist. You want it to be a little bit loose, but not too loose, because this is about the width that your bracelet will be. You'll also need some yarn or ribbon or string or something that's fairly flexible that you can weave with. The third thing you're going to need is something to hold your rubber bands in place while you weave. I find a box lid like this really helpful because it's fairly stiff. So you just slip the rubber bands on like this. And this holds them steady. They're a little bit taut, which makes it easier to weave. And there's space underneath, and that also makes it easier to weave things in and out. If you don't have a box top, that's fine, because there are lots of other options. I got this plastic box with strawberries at the grocery market. As you can see, the edges sort of pull in, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. So this is a great thing to weave on. You can find things around your house. You could use like a coffee cup. You can just loop the rubber bands around it. Coffee cups are a little bit tricky because they're the shape, but that works. You can also take a box. This has vitamins in it, and you can just flatten the box out like that, and then fold it over, and then slip a rubber band on. And again, you see, you still have that little V, so space to weave. So let's get started. The first decision you're going to have to make is how many rubber bands do you want to use? Because you can use 2 rubber bands and make a thin bracelet. 3 rubber bands gives you a slightly wider one, and 4 rubber bands gives you an even wider one. You could also weave with 5 or 6. It doesn't matter, and it's up to you. Okay, let's get started. So here's my box, and here's my yarn. So you're going to take the free end of the yarn and just hook it underneath the rubber band where it reaches the edge. You want to leave enough of an end tail sort of hanging out, because at the end we're going to tie this. After we've woven all the way around the rubber bands, we'll tie the 2 together to hold it taut. And then what you're going to do, so this rubber band, this comes out in the middle between the rubber bands. You're going to go over this rubber band and then wrap around. So you're going under, bring it out to the center, then wrap it around underneath the one on the other side. And you just keep going back and forth like that. So you're basically just going over, then under one rubber band, coming out in the center, then going over and under the other rubber band. Periodically, you're going to push them together to sort of keep your weaving a little bit tight. So over, under, and then push it together. So you have lots of options. This yarn is nice because it has 2 different colors, so that gives you a nice pattern to it. You don't have to. You can use solid colors if you want. For these bracelets, I used a yarn that had multiple colors in it. So you end up getting the banded pattern. You can also take 2 different yarns and weave them at the same time. You can, I'm going to show you in a minute, that we're going to run out of this yarn, so we have to tie another one on. And if you want to go from one color to another color, that's fine. So here I am. I'm coming up to an end. So I want to leave enough again that I can tie it. So I'll just get another piece of yarn. You know, again, 12 inches or so, maybe a little longer, depending on how easy you can hold it. So you make 1 knot, and then another knot to make a square knot, and I usually tie a third one just because it's easier and less likely to come apart. You can leave these ends hanging, or if you want to trim them now so they don't get in the way as you're weaving, you can do that. And if you want to trim those little other ends later, you can. So then you just keep weaving. So I came out in the middle here, so I'll go over and under this one, over and under that one. You just keep going. So you can experiment with different things. If you had some beads and you wanted to weave a bead in, you could just put a bead on the yarn. Just see where it comes out. So again, we're just going over, under, over, under. And right now, you can see that we're getting towards the edge of the box. So it's going to make it harder to weave. So we want to make more room. So to do that, you just lift up on the rubber bands and scoot what you've woven around. You just lift it up and scoot it around. If you scoot too far, you just lift it up and scoot it back. So, eventually, too far. So eventually you're going to weave all the way around and come out the other side. I wanted to show you weaving with 3 rubber bands. So it's basically the same idea. You're going over, under, only this time you'll go, this comes out underneath this rubber band. So you go over this rubber band on the outside, under the middle rubber band, come up in between the other 2 rubber bands, and you'll go over the outside rubber band, come up, go over the middle rubber band, come up, and then go under this rubber band, then over, under, over, under, over, under. So again, it's just that rhythm of over, under. And if you get lost, if you forget what you're supposed to be doing, like I decide to go under this one again, you just find your unraveling. So you just fix it, go back the other way. So what happens when you get to the end? So with this one, I started with the blue and I've woven all the way around. All the way around. This particular yarn has many colors. So I've come to this end. So you can see that there's a little bit of rubber band between them. And if I wanted to make one more, I could go under this and bring this up. As it gets tighter, it gets a little more complex, but it can be done. So what you do is you just take the 2 ends, the blue one where I started and this purple one where I'm ending, and you just, again, tie them together like that. And then you just slide this off. And I can trim this end off. And there I have another bracelet. So thank you for watching and have fun.